Voters, this is Pauly from All Docked Up. How's everybody doing? Thursday night podcast night. Once again, Captain Buzzword.
Good evening, Captain Buzz here. And so we always start with our menu. And
Buzzy, what did I feed you tonight for dinner?
Well, I'll tell you what.
What'd you get? What'd you get out of Pauly's kitchen tonight?
It was a chicken marsala with lots of mushrooms, penne pasta, Parmesan cheese, and as I told you when I was eating it, the pasta was embedded with the sauce. I mean, it was in the pores.
Pasta al dente, cooked it down in the sauce. It was beautiful.
I mean, spectacular.
I was hungry. I had a fun day. I had the past fun couple days.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But first, let me do the captain's briefing first. All right, so captain's briefing for this evening. Fuel spills. So first of all, everyone knows that it's illegal to discharge any kind of oil or fuel in the water, any navigable water in the United States or beyond. It's just not good for the environment, and it's a common sense thing.
When do you see it? The most times I ever see people doing that was when they're filling up their tanks at the dock.
Well, that's exactly right.
When they're filling up their fuel tanks on board.
Yeah, maybe they got a long run and they push it a little too far and it blows out the
burps,
the expansion.
Yeah, burps. I've had that happen to me a couple of times.
And so a major spill, you've got to report that to the authorities. But the one thing you never want to do is use a dispersant, like a dish soap,
like Dawn.
Don't ever do that.
And we learned something really cool through the through the Clean Marina Act, the state of Maryland. Wow, don't use it. Why?
Yeah, well, the reason is that if you use a dispersant like that, and a drop of Dawn will clear 30 square yards of fuel in a matter of seconds. But what happens is the fuel sinks.
Yeah, it grabs it and it sinks to the bottom,
and then it's there for, I don't know how long, a long time. If it can't be contained, and you can't use absorbent, they say straw or absorbent rags or those pads. If those
your oil pads, your oil absorbers, your socks,
exactly, then it's, I don't want to say it's better. That's not the right word. Leave it on the surface because the sun will break it down quicker than if you sink it to the bottom. It's going to burn it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So very important about fuel spills. So do your research on that. Be very careful when you're filling your vessel with diesel or gas. Don't push it too far. Know the limitations of your fuel tank and know when to stop.
Well, they have those little nose spills, the suction cups that go right over, your bleeder for your tank.
Yes.
So if it does burp,
I have
it shoots
one on
right
board.
in. You have one on board, and
yes.
and
that's a good point.
It shoots it right into there. Using them is never a bad thing. On my 285, on my Bayliner, the boat itself is, burps all the time. I mean, you really got to listen when you're filling that up. It sucks.
Well, and you got to, because if you're going on a long run, you want to top off as much as you can, but it's not like topping off a car, folks. Spilling fuel into the water is a little bit different than the parking lot at the gas station, because that can be cleaned up pretty easy. So just be very, very careful. So that's the captain's briefing. Detailer? What's our detailer?
Yeah, briefing? I'll give you a detailer's briefing. Here's my detailer's briefing for the week, you son of a bitch. So I had the privilege, everybody, of detailing Buzzy's topside from the rub rail up of his 2004 Sea Ray 420 in the water. Thank God I was on a pair of floating docks. That was a little bit. So my back wasn't totally broken, yesterday. But captain's briefing for me this week was, empty out the boat to the best of your abilities prior to the detailer showing up. And I'm not saying that you didn't do that you did that, but I've run into it a couple of times over the past month. And
well, particularly, Pauly, when you're doing the interior or a cockpit, or even if you're doing carpets or down in the galley, and doing cabinets, because some of the details you do are a complete detail of the entire
Yeah,
vessel.
we scrub everything. If somebody wants an interior, the carpets are getting shampooed. Every surface is getting wiped down. Wood can be treated. We've done it all.
But you're billing hours.
But see,
you've
that's
got
the
to move
thing.
life jackets
Right,
out
like,
there.
that's what I mean. Like, I want to spend the time working on the customer's boat and cleaning. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. I want to focus on the detail. I want to, it's all about the detail, baby. Friend of mine told me that. I can't even take credit for that. A friend of mine used to tell me that. But spend the time detailing, doing the job, not moving everything around. And you'd be surprised what we find on boats. It would blow your mind.
Yeah, well, it's good advice. Well, because you're gonna have to charge them if you have to spend all that time.
If I'm spending
to
extra,
prep the boat
sure,
to do the job.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, you want to stay focused on doing the job. But long story short, working on your piece for the past 2.5 days. I'll tell you what, guys. I give you credit. The gel coat on a Sea Ray, even if it is beat, if it's heavily oxidized, it needs a good compounding. You really got to break her down to bring her back up. Yours was nice. Yours was a nice boat to work on. It's a lot of bends and creek. Oh my God, I could have killed you. And the hardtop, I'm up on top and I'm buffing out this hardtop, attempting not to take a header off of the side. Pray to God that I don't hit the rail on the way down on top of the bulwarks.
Twist
Yeah, like hopefully you just hit the water good.
Well, and
nobody understood no wake in Engineers Cove in Chesapeake City.
What's the deal?
I was bouncing around. I'm like, guys, what's going on, man? Come on.
So I went on to all docked up and hired a detailer to take care of my top side. And, that's you.
Yeah, I had the privilege, everybody. Yeah, for all these years, Pauly, we do a little teamwork on the boats together. I got a small one. Buzzy's got this monster. There's a lot of freeboard on that bitch to buff.
Well, hold on. Let's back up.
And you got a blue hull, nonetheless, non-painted, just gel coat blue hull.
Yeah. So I've been spending a lot of time with Pauly over the years, and he's taught me how to use a wheel, and I can get through it, right? So I do the hull on the hard because it's pretty flat, and I can move the ladders around, and I'm fine. But I said to my wife, I am not doing above the rub rail. My knees, I can't do it.
Yeah, I need a bacchiotomy after doing yours on the dock, for the love of God.
So I'm gonna hire Paolo, Chesapeake City Boat Works, or Chesapeake
Bay Boat Works, you bonehead.
Yeah,
Stutter and Jack over here, guys. Yeah, nice. I fill you up. You're falling asleep on me at the end of the day.
Oh, forget it. Well.
The boat looks beautiful. The boat looks good. She polished up real nice.
I stopped down there on my way up because we've got a high wind warning, and so I wanted to go down and because we had to flip it around. I want to make sure that it was all tied up. That's what I do. You know me. And it looks good. It looks really good.
You better look good, or I'm gonna beat you over the head with a buffer. You know what I mean? Shoot a pad at you at like 3,000 RPMs. Oh my God, guys! I'm telling you what, that was a hurt.
All right, so let's go into a little bit of the details. Now, you talked about Sea Ray gel coat, and I had done the best I could, and I'm no expert, and I'm not a.
She needed some love. You did the best you could with an orbital on the top side, because when you swirl the top side, dude, I'm telling you, I've been made fun of over the years. I've had people call me swirls. When I first started learning how to buff, you make those, not even necessarily a mistake, when you're compounding fiberglass in general. If you got to do a heavy cut, you got to follow by a polish, an anti-swirl, an ultra fine, because you will swirl it up because you're digging in deep.
Sure.
You didn't do too bad though. I'll tell you what.
I'm so pleased to hear that from a professional detailer.
I didn't say that I liked you. I mean, I don't, guys, did you hear me say that? Because I don't remember saying that. I never said I liked you for it, Jeffrey was calling me. Jeff Halber, the other founder of the company, is calling me and saying, "Hey, buddy, how you making out with Captain Buzz's boat?" I'm like, I really don't like him right now.
However,
the black streak marks off of the bridge, the ships, and it's amazing what travels through the air and lands on the bow of your boat. It really is.
Well, it gets stuck everywhere and then it runs down.
It's not so good. No,
but so how did you What type of chemicals? How did you bring it back? Because
it's
very
3M,
even.
I'm a 3M guy. I love the finesse it line. They make a 3-step process. Okay. All these chemicals out there that are praising that they're going to be able to cut you all this extra elbow grease, it is an absolute fugazi. It's nonsense.
Wait.
There's no running from buffing. There's no running from hard work on non-painted gel coat surfaces.
Hold on. A fugazi?
It's a fugazi.
Wow.
Forget about it. It's a fugazi. Okay. If you want to keep your boat looking good, nice and shiny, non-oxidized, non-blotchy, and truly get to enjoy it, you have to do multiple steps. It is very rare. Some of my customers' boats that I've done that I've gotten to at that point in time, there's always a little bit of compounding to do, but you can use a one-step cleaner wax to do that without a problem.
They're not going to be happy, though.
It actually all depends. It's not true.
Okay,
Sometimes, perfect example, a boat that's consistently maintained, that's washed every week, that's detailed fully once a year, if not twice a year, to manipulate that gel coat is not bad.
Okay.
You still got to spend the time to make sure it's even, everything's laid out nice, but you still have to cover every surface. It just takes a lot less time to process a 2x2 with a wheel. You can go over a bigger piece of fiberglass and not have the chemical dry.
So you mentioned something about washing, and you had recommended to me recently to use
the new ceramic coating soaps that they're having out there that's flooding the market.
Thank you. Yeah, the technology. So to talk a little bit about that and why you recommended that. And before you do that, when I read the instructions on this product,
that blew my mind.
Yeah, it's very.
And I used a lot of boat washing soap in my day. That system that you bought blew my mind.
So what it said was, wash the entire boat. Now, just about every washing, either a wax wash or a strip wash or a boat wash, all says, do a section, rinse it off. Do a section, rinse it off. The instructions on this product said, wash the entire boat
and let it dry.
And don't worry about it drying. Just wash the entire boat and then rinse it off.
And then rinse it off.
Well,
it's allowing the ceramic coat to take form onto the boat. It's setting into the fiberglass. I would call that a curing time. That's why they want you to do that. Think about it.
Well, and let's tease that out for a future podcast, because I haven't used that product yet, and I'm sure I'm going to be washing the boat. After the
you got to wash it again. I'll tell you what. Every day that I've worked on your boat, the first thing I had to wash your boat before putting a wheel back on
It's yellow.
Everything was yellow. It was, and all it does is cakes up the pad.
Yeah.
And it's a mess. It drives me insane. It's better off to take it, but then you got to dry the whole thing off.
So we'll put that as part of our next podcast to talk about that, the performance of that ceramic boat wash. All right. So we talked about detailing the top side of my boat. So the other couple topics we have, first is peeling shrink wrap.
Yeah, go down to the basics. There's still a lot of boats that are under shrink wrap in the marinas right now.
There
are a lot of boats on the hard still under shrink wrap. And I'll tell you what, I've ran into this a couple of times this year. A lot of the marinas are doing recycling programs for their shrink wrap.
Yes.
So peeling shrink wrap, if you go down, whether you do it yourself or you pay the marina to do it, or whoever, you got to do it a specific way due to the recycling rules that are being implemented, which is phenomenal in the marinas. It's great.
It's one of my, it seems kind of strange, one of my favorite days is peeling the shrink wrap off the boat.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a rite of passage.
It's your Christmas present for the start.
You've been thinking about it all winter. Okay, you got a decent weekend. I'm going to go down there and peel the shrink wrap. And so, I've done it a number of years, and I've got a very specific, me.
You walk around with a clipboard. Your listed to-do list and breakdown. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So a tip for folks, because I have a hard top and the thing is way off the ground, and some pieces I just can't reach.
Yeah.
So I take my extended, boat pole and I zip tie a sheetrock knife to the end of the pole and extend it out and go and peel it back like right down the center.
Right, you're going right down the center line of the shrink wrap, and you're letting it split in half like you're opening a banana.
Let it fall down.
Let it fall right over.
But what was unique about this year when I got down to the boat? Again, one of my favorite days. And at the back of the boat on the shrink wrap was a sticker from the marina that said, "We recycle shrink wrap." And so the two very important pieces about that is all of the cord that they use,
all your shrink wrap string that's been melted into your your plastic, that's got to be removed. Your vents got to be removed.
And vents, that's right. You have to cut the vents out.
You got to cut the vents out. If you go right down the center line, split it into two pieces, you can roll it up successfully because the marinas have clear plastic bags. I've used them over at Bohemian Bay Yacht Harbor.
Yeah.
And it saves the yard guys some work. The one guy, Brian, over there is like, Paulie, either throw it in the shed or put it underneath the boat and he'll come and collect it for you. But if you can do that for the marina, they would be really, really happy with that.
Yeah, it takes a little extra effort. And I know that, everyone knows and understands what recycling is. You're not throwing a pizza box in your recycling bin because it's got food on it. It's just like that. Pull all the cord out of the shrink wrap and then cut the vents out and then roll it up and whatever, depending on the marina's instructions, either place it under the boat in two little piles or put it in a place where they designate so they can recycle the entire roll.
Yeah, there's been way too much waste for way too long.
A lot of plastic.
With a lot of plastic. I'm sorry. I mean that and shrink wrapping is expensive. And it's expensive to the marina to buy the product.
Oh yeah.
Between the propane that they're using, their tanks they're using, you know what I mean? You go through a lot of material or shrink wrapping. You really go through a lot of material.
If you've never seen a shrink wrap operation, I recommend hanging around a marina and watching. It is really cool.
I had the privilege. I was taught by some really good guys that, and I don't care what anybody says. I've been to a bunch of different marinas. There was nobody who ever shrink wrapped a 30-foot boat
quicker
that fast than Long Point Marina. Honest to God, those guys, it was amazing.
Bucket of a backhoe to hold the roll right above.
When we did yours that day, that was they were amazing. I'm telling you, and it's a skill. I mean, you do it over and over again, but each boat is different. And then how you set your wood, where you're placing it, where you're tying down.
Yes.
It's a skill set. It really is. But I'll tell you what, no one ever did it faster than those guys.
Well, and don't, it's your boat. So don't be afraid to go down there and check on it because a couple of years ago, there was one wood stanchion along the center line that wasn't put in. And so the water collected and was resting on the bow of the boat.
Right. So you had 500 plus pounds of extra weight just sitting on the front of the bow of your boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sitting on the hard on cinder blocks and stands.
Yeah. When I cut that thing open, it was a flood. But
yeah, don't be scared to go down throughout the course of the winter time. Absolutely. Check on your boat.
You can.
Don't always assume
somebody down.
Right. Or call somebody from your marina and ask them to help you out,
after heavy snow.
But at the end of the day, the boat is yours. It's your responsibility.
Great point.
And a lot of marinas try very hard. They stay in close contact with their customers.
Sure.
The marinas really, really do work hard. But at the end of the day, it's your boat, your responsibility.
Yeah, take care of it. All right, I've one other thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about your new little toy that you want to install on the bayout.
Well, since I've owned the boat, the holding tank monitor has not worked. It was pointed out on the survey, so it was no surprise, and I've lived with it a long time.
Now you don't want to live with it no more. Explain them. All right, so explain to the listeners why.
So, and I've tried to fix it. So I've gone down to the holding tank and I've removed it. Mine has 3 float sensors. A empty, a halfway, and a full.
Sure.
I cleaned them all off. I checked the ohms. I did everything I possibly could.
You diagnosed it. You found physically no problem.
I couldn't figure it out.
But you have no connectivity between the senders in the holding tank and the meter that sits in the cabin.
That's correct. I said, well, okay. So I live with it. I was just, okay. I kind of, sixth sense. I said, okay, it's time to go pump out, and I'd be fine. Last year, however, I pushed it one flush too much.
Oh, you had a little blowback, huh?
And that, folks, you'd never want to do.
Yeah, you were discharging out of your bleeder.
It was bad.
Yeah, out of your bleeder valve on the side of the hole.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It was.
You failed.
I did. I got my arm fouled.
Guys, nail him. Everyone who's listening to him, you see him, break his stones.
Well, hey, see, you owed me one. Right, because I've been using you as an example.
Oh, you've been beating me up for weeks, but I'll tell you what, though. You know what? I have never had a problem sharing my shortcomings in any way, shape, or form.
So,
Because you know what? If you are not making mistakes and you are not failing, you are not learning.
well, you and I'll make the mistakes or the mistakes we've made.
And let's save our let's
help our folks.
Let's help
our
all
audience.
our folks that are listening to us. The do's and the don'ts. And how about this? When we did make mistakes, guys, we always have funny stories to follow behind.
We have, and we'll have a lot more. So this, that was on me. I went one flush too much. So you don't want to do that. So what I've done is I did some research and I found what's called Gobius. And what it is it's an outside the tank monitoring system, relatively easy to install. And my power source happens to be very close, 12 volt to the holding tank. And it's also Bluetooth.
It's Bluetooth capable
to my phone.
So it's going to report right to your cell phone.
Right. So it's a Swedish company, and I did some research. And so we're teasing this out because I've ordered it.
You're going to be the test dummy.
And I'll see how it works.
Right. We're going to see how good it really is. Because I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people that would really like to have, because a lot of those sensors are broken sometimes on people's boats. It's very common.
Yeah.
I've seen it all the time. And a lot of the times it's prohibitively expensive to try and restore the exact same system from an OEM standpoint that was on the boat from the factory.
Well, I didn't want to get into running lines all the way from the bilge holding tank area into the AC panel. That's a long run.
Yeah, that's a long run.
So I got lazy there. I'll admit that. Then I thought about, okay, I'll just get a normal system and reinstall it. But then I've got to mount a panel somewhere. So I'm going to be drilling holes and cutting glass, and I didn't want to do that either. And so I said, this is a perfect solution. So we will see how this works, and we will report back on this.
I really hope that the product serves you well, because if there are a lot of people that either are having trouble they don't know the service providers to go to. If your local marina doesn't have the resources that you need to fix your boat, every marina is different. They have all different types of level services, from full service marinas to there's marinas that do minor mechanics, a lot of shrink wrapping, bottom painting. Every marina's got all different types of stuff that they do and do not do.
Yeah, so this will be a kind of a test bed, and the next thing I would want, if this works and we can report back to the audience that this thing actually does what it says and the installation is good, that this is someone we would want on all docked up.
Companies, I'll tell you what, all different types of products that we can offer to all of our members, whether you are a marine provider or you're just a simple boat, you're a boater that's on the app all the time.
Right. And I'll say that the price of it compared to a normal monitoring system, again with all the different floats, and I wasn't going to drill holes in my tank. I would have replaced what was there. The prices was pretty good, and so I will. It comes with 2 monitors, so I'm going to know when it's maybe a third full and when it's almost full.
Right, because you have to install the monitor on the actual boat. So
you just stick it to the tank. Now it also works on plastic tanks, aluminum tanks, fiberglass tanks. So what your tank material is, and you could be monitoring whether it's a fuel tank and you want to monitor when it's low, or if it's a holding tank and you want to monitor when it's high. It can do all that in the app, depending on where you place the puck on the tank.
The new technology that is coming into the boating market, it's flooding the boating market. There is so much cool stuff coming to the industry. I mean, the options that they're able to from a factory, if you're ordering your boat, they're endless. You can do absolutely endless.
Yeah.
I love it. All the systems, when they're talking to one another, it's incredible. It really is incredible.
We will continue to share these types of things with you. So got to report back on the ceramic boat wash, and we've got to report back on the holding tank monitoring system that's going to Bluetooth to my phone. So for our next
I'm very curious to see how you make out with that.
Yeah, me too.
Very, very curious to see how you make out with that. Because I'll tell you what, you don't ever want to have sewage spill into the bay. Any unless you are offshore and you are within the guidelines of the rules of the United States Coast Guard of when you're legally able to discharge your holding tank.
Bump it out.
Yeah. go to the pump out, get her pumped out, or you pull a nice little cool little system on board to what you were just talking about.
And
what was the name of the company again?
Gobius.
Gobius.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of it's a Swedish company. But again, we'll report back to make sure that the product works, and we'll continue to test products. We got a good test bed. You got your boat. We got my boat.
Oh, I'll tell you, from a chemical standpoint, I can give you a list. And it's funny, in my industry, you would think that every single chemical works on every different type of gel coat, and it does not.
No.
All the boats are different. They really, really are. I love trying products. I just hated trying them and then throwing away a $25 bottle of chemical, because I don't know how many times I've done that.
All right, folks. Well, we've taken another almost half an hour of your time once again. We hope you've enjoyed what we've brought to you. Pauly and I will continue to bring our stories, our mistakes, so that you can learn and avoid those mistakes. We look forward to hearing from you. Standing by on Channel 6-8.
Standing by, Buzzy on 6-8. Guys, have a great night. Thank you for listening.